Hi, this is Steve Schmidt, Web Advisor and Team Leader at Effect Web Agency. So this video is a more in-depth walkthrough of the website Lovability checklist to help you have some deeper understanding and guidance on these things, which are super important, by the way, to convert visitors into contacts or customers. If this video is too small for you on the page, just click the expanding button on the video to make it full screen. Okay, let's get into the checklist. So it's broken down into three categories: appearance, function, and communicating answers clearly. With appearance, the number one thing is, does your website reflect the quality of your products, services, and support? I'm sure you already agree that people are going to judge your company, your products, services, and how you support them by the way that your website looks, feels, how well it's organized, if it looks old, if they're using mobile, does it work on mobile? So that first impression kind of sets a feeling that governs the rest of the experience. So please take a few moments to look at your website and consider your audience and how they might judge you when they go there. Does it really reflect your quality? If not, do something about it. If you're not ready to revamp your whole website or something like that, and you think it needs it, then just take the biggest pieces or problems and turn those around. It could be something like making your fonts bigger and having bigger spacing around them so things are easier to read, or simply taking extra stuff off the page so it's more focused or something. Even if you're not ready to revamp a website, there's still simpler things that you can do on your current site that may make it a lot better. The other thing is, does your website match your brand? Having the same logo on it, of course, that's obvious, but are the colors and the feel of it, the style of it, does it match your brand? Is it consistent? When everything with your brand look is consistent, it just communicates that you're on top of things and helps the visitor clearly understand your brand. The next item is beautiful on tablets, smartphones, and computers. As you already know, tablets are huge. Smartphones are too. We typically see that about 10 to 15% of visitors in the Midwest to any given organization's website are using smartphones. So if your website looks good on a tiny screen, great. That's what you would need for that portion of your visitors. If it doesn't look great on these things, the visitor is going to have an odd experience, and that gives them kind of an odd feeling about the company as well. Are they on top of technology? Don't they know that this looks weird or doesn't work on this device? Fortunately, if you're not sure how your website looks, it is pretty easy to find out. What I would recommend doing is visiting browserstack.com. Browserstack.com is a fantastic tool to see what your website looks like on virtually every kind of device and browser combination. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to go through and test all 200 of these things, but just test a few of them to get a feel for it. If you're concerned about your website and how it looks on an iPhone, you can go and select here Apple iOS and iPhone 4S or iPhone 5S. So you just click on that, and then you would come up here and enter your URL of your home page or whatever and go and get it, and it's going to give you screenshots of what it looks like on that browser and device. Now, what I would actually recommend doing is, if you want to see this stuff, and actually these are screenshots here, but if you want to interact with your website on one of these devices or browser version, is actually sign up for the free trial, and then you can use their live testing tool, which looks like this. And what's really nice about it is you can type in your URL, and then you select, okay, which kind of operating system. I want to do it on Mac or Windows or mobile and tablet views here, and Android. So here's the Apple iOS, iPhone 5, got my URL in there, going to click the button. and then it pulls up your website on that view. And so our website is made to stack up the content like this for a mobile device, for like a phone. So it's stacking up the content there. So that's a way that you can see exactly what it looks like, even interact with it, click on the link, see other pages if you want to, or you can have your web geek do that. Okay, so let's move on to function, which we kind of covered this one a little bit. Everything works great on computers and mobile devices, so not just look great, but actually work. I've been on plenty of big company websites, bank websites or other organizations' websites. You would have thought they would have this down, where a search function or a form or a gallery or something that's important to get through the site doesn't actually work on a tablet. And it seems crazy, but that is pretty common. So we want to make sure everything actually works. If you know how it is, if you go to a website and you're trying to get something done or take a step, fill out a form or whatever, use a pricing calculator or something, and it doesn't work or it acts goofy, it's just kind of like, it's a real turnoff. So it is important. Make sure your stuff works on tablets and Android phones and iPhones, because that's going to be a very easy way to prevent extra people from going away from your website. Okay, let's talk about features work intuitively. Really the best way to understand and gauge if something works intuitively is to ask a person that would say they're not a savvy web user. If you ask yourself, you might typically say, well, yeah, I think it looks good. I was involved in making it, and to me it's great. But ask somebody who's never seen it or never used it, somebody who's not a savvy web user, and see what they think. Then you're going to get a really good indication of, is this really as intuitive as I thought? Because you know how it is. None of us really want to have to learn how to use a website or a feature. We just want to use it and move on. So that is great. So look at your key features of your website. If you have a price calculator or a gallery or a form, especially some kind of call to action form, make sure that stuff works and it makes sense and it's easy to use, and you'll get more leads and contacts and sales. Pages loading fast. Now on your screen here it says under 5 seconds. Actually, we are updating our checklist here now, which is actually already updated. It's just not on this video, but to be under 3 seconds. The faster your website loads, the more likely people are to use it, and it actually helps you with your Google and other search engine ranking. It's one more piece of the ranking algorithm is if Google and other search engines want to rank websites and suggest websites that are not only relevant and authoritative and all that, but they actually load quickly so you can get to the information you need and not be frustrated. So we've got a page on our website, effectwebagency.com/speed. Here's what that looks like. So if you go here, there's also a video on there that walks you through what to do. Basically, this is a third-party tool from Pingdom, and you enter in the URL. It could be your home page, or if there's another page on your site you're wondering how fast it loads, just enter it in there and go to Test Now, and it's going to give you what they call a waterfall report, which has basically it shows you every piece, every file that actually loads when you load a website, how long it takes, and you can see, okay, what pieces are loading the longest. You might have an image that is way too big and it's taking forever or whatever, but the most important thing here is it's going to tell you how long your website loads for a person that loads it the first time, and you'll see how many seconds that takes. This is a very good tool for gauging really how fast your website actually is. Alright, let's go on to communicating answers clearly, because this is really why, getting answers, getting information is really why they're on your website, right? So you want to make sure they get those answers clearly. Articulating your brand's difference and promise is very important, and it's often forgotten or just overlooked or whatever, but for someone who could be a good customer, client, or whatever for you, what do they, when they come to your website, they're trying to understand who you are, and they're also trying to understand the scope of your products and services. So we need to clearly communicate your brand difference and your promise. What is it about your company that is different from others? Why do you exist? How do you approach it differently, and why is that better for your target audience? Very important. If people don't know why you're different, they assume that you're not different, and then they make a decision based on price or something else, whatever differences they can come up with. Clarifying the scope of your products and services, make it very clear right up front what you really offer, so they know the beginning and the ending of that, and they can adequately size you up in their mind and understand if they should go any further, if you have what they want or not. The next point, that all needed information is available and organized neatly on the website. Of course, we all like things that are organized neatly. And by this we could mean, the text is organized in the priority order of what they want to know. So, what are your audience's biggest top questions? Answer those things first, whether it's on the home page or a landing page. Organize it into a way, your site map in a way that your audience finds comfortable and intuitive. They really want no work when they're going through your website. If your website is work to gather information, that's a huge turnoff. I can give you a real life example. We have a client in Switzerland who has a number of websites for different countries. Very detail oriented person who runs this whole thing, and his website was a comprehensive research project to get through and find out the answers that you want to know. Very difficult. All the information is there, and there's plenty of it, but you really had to dig and gather and put it together and all this. So anyways, we revamped the website using these principles that we're going over here today, and his conversion rate, which is getting the percentage of visitors that actually turn into contacts, went up 10 times. Now sure, the website looked better, and it was also mobile friendly as well, and the call to action was more clear, but a lot of it had to do with just organizing the content in a way that made sense and was easy to put together by his target audience. A great way to understand if your website's like this, if it's hard for you to tell because you're in it, which is very common, it's hard for me to tell because I'm in it with our own website, is to ask some of your perspectives or people that are inside your target audience that will give you some feedback. Get their honest opinions on how stuff's laid out, their critical thinking. Find somebody who's picky and detail-oriented and who likes to share their opinions, and you will get a wealth of information on how you might reorganize your website. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to totally change out your website. There may be some big wins you could apply to the site, to your current site. The other thing I would say about organizing your content neatly in this next point about all pages, including the home page, guiding the visitor to the most helpful next step, action, or offer, is when you do this stuff and you cater to them and you really help them and you put yourself in their shoes and think about how would they want this website to be organized, you are communicating your attitude towards your customer. So if you really care about them, you think about these things and you take action to cater to them, and they will get that. If your website was like the the Swiss company's website I just mentioned, it's hard to understand, well, how much do they really think about me as the potential customer, because this stuff is not organized in a way that is very helpful to me. So customers, visitors, they will basically form an opinion on what your attitude is towards them based on how well the information on the website caters to them. Okay, let's talk about the next one, offers. We need to have offers that are perceived as much more valuable than the work to fill out the form. If your offer doesn't really seem like it's that valuable, and there's, you're going to have less people that fill out the form. So take it a step further. Whatever offer you have now or call to action, take it a step further. How could you put more perceived value into it for your target audience? On our website, we have what we call the Effective Website Toolkit, which this checklist is a part of. It has 10 or so tools in it that are very important for having a results achieving website. And it's very easy to get it. There's just four fields on a form to fill out, and a person can get it. And we've got tons of people getting it. It's a very high perceived value, which far outweighs filling out 4 fields on a form. So go overboard on your perceived value, and then you'll get much more context. The next one, visitor has clear expectations of what they're getting from the offer. So this is, if you're going to fill out a form or something like that, you're going to want to know, what's going to happen next? What am I getting out of this really? What's going to happen after I fill out the form? I've seen lots of websites that'll say, something like, instant quote, fill out the form. The form's got way too many fields. It'll have a street address on it, which you do not need to get a quote. That's for sure. So, take out fields that are not necessary in order to deliver what the offer is to them. So boil it down, and you will get more context. And if they have clear expectations, they're going to understand exactly what they're getting into. So like this form example I mentioned where it said instant quote, well, what would happen is you fill out this big form, and then somebody's going to call you at some point. So it's really not an instant quote. So it's a little misleading, or the client may expect, well, if I click it, maybe on the next page it'll give me some kind of quote number or something. So it's a little confusing, a little foggy, but be crystal clear about exactly what they're getting, what's going to happen after the form, how many business days or hours or how soon they can expect somebody to contact them, what's going to happen during that phone call or whatever, what are the things that are going to come out of it. Be as clear as you can, and more people are going to take your offer and fill out the form. Text being concise and clear. We know we all like simplicity, and it's funny too because I think part of our nature is we say, oh yeah, I like things to be concise and clear, and I just love that on other websites. And then when I go to make my own website, it's got text, it's got a whole bunch of text on it, and I feel like, well, I can't really take that out because it's good information and they need to know a lot. And so we kind of make this decision that, yeah, we agree that we should keep it simple, but, with my situation, there's a whole bunch of information they need to know. And that's just simply, it's just simply not the case in most cases. Now, if you're an attorney, a law firm, offering some kind of medical operation or something like that, something very, very serious and, something to that effect, more information is going to be needed. For other types of things that are not as serious or whatever, you're going to get much further, much more context by chopping out a lot of your text. And this is something we had to go through ourselves. Our past few websites, especially as you went back further in time, had a lot more text on them. and lots of, what I would call, that's good information. But frankly, people don't, for the type of work we do as a website building and web marketing company, they simply don't read a lot on the website. They want to talk to somebody about it. And so we took kind of a radical step with our current website, decided, you know what, hardly anybody reads all this stuff anyways. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum and keep the text super simple, because we want to make sure that there's there's priority points that we really need our audience to get. So I'm going to show you what we did. Okay, so this is our current website. We boiled down the text tremendously from having probably a page worth of solid text to this, where we communicate the main points. Because really, if somebody just gets the main points, that's probably all they're going to be able to really remember anyways, especially if they're looking at multiple web developers and all this stuff. So, plan and build effective sites. Okay, well, what are the main points about that? That they are objective. Specific goals is what we go after. They work on everything and they look beautiful. You have control over it. We can customize anything. We have a custom coding warranty, so don't worry. And then we have a call to action. Super simple. There's not much there to read. You get it. You move on. You either say, well, I don't know, it's not really for me right now, or yeah, I like this. This makes sense. I'm going to contact them. So I encourage you, if you don't have a super critical, super serious thing that you're offering, try boiling down your content as much as you can to the main points you want to communicate, because really that's about all that people will read and probably remember anyways. Also, on this point about text does not conflict or raise additional concerns. What this is basically across your website, text doesn't seem to contradict each other. Like it's very consistent, what your offer is or how your service or product works. It's not like it's explained a different way over here and another way over here, which kind of is like, well, does that mean that this is going to happen that way, or does it mean it's going to work this? You know what I mean? Just keep it as clear as you can throughout your site when you're describing whatever it is, your service or product, so you're not raising additional concerns or questions or confusion. Keep it clear and consistent. And the last thing, which is often overlooked but sometimes can be easy to do, a lot of times can be easy to do, is put industry associations, logos, accreditations, badges, testimonials on the website to assure visitors and build trust. When it comes to a website, it's not a person. Really, the first way to build trust is to have a video of a real person talking and communicating, what's important about what they ought to know. And when that happens, you can kind of understand by the voice and the visuals kind of what their approach is, and you kind of can get a decent sense, or the best sense you can, short of actually meeting with them and talking with them in person. And then, if you don't have videos, or can't, or whatever, this thing here with badges and logos and association symbols or whatever is kind of one of the next best things, because it shows that you are, up to date with these certain protocols, or you must be good or have been around for a while if you're part of this organization. Or so this is it's a very simple way of helping build trust with a visitor who's just simply looking at a web page before they actually get to talk to you. I truly hope this has been helpful and insightful for you, with some practical takeaways and what you can do to improve the results of your current site, or factor these into planning of a new site. There's going to be some more videos and insightful tools like this coming. And if you have any feedback on what you've seen here and how you think we can improve it, or if you have other questions that you'd like to get answered, just let me know. You can contact me at steve@ effectwebagency.com. And if you do want to receive notifications of new tools and walkthroughs like this, please go to effectwebagency.com/insights, and on that page there's a sidebar where you can subscribe to future insights. Thank you very much. Have a good day.